That part was, I didn't even see any public comments in support from Speaker of the House yesterday. But back on Capitol Hill, Democrats continue to be obsessed with their thinnest, weakest, and most partisan impeachment in the history of the United States. And the ringleader of it all, Chairman Adam Schiff, lied once again. As I watched, he was asked a direct question yesterday about his interactions with the whistleblower, and he repeated the same lines he has said in the past. 17 of the 18 transcripts have been let go. One has not. 179 pages with the Inspector General. I wonder why. What's interesting is it hadn't been leaked to the New York Times. If we'd ever imagine if any of this was bad for the president, it'd first be leaked and then it'd be released. Interesting to me that Adam Schiff said he couldn't release it. Oh, yes, he can. All he has to do is call his committee together and have a vote. But he never allowed that to happen. Interesting that this all started because there was an IG letter about a whistleblower. Adam Schiff told us he did not know who this person was. Later, we found out he did. Later, we found out that they met. It'd be interesting on the questions, did they meet before the Inspector General? Did the Inspector General know that his staff and him met? I guess if some of that was true, the only person who knows the answer to those questions are Adam Schiff, who's the only person who is denying us the ability to have that transcript. Could he be a fact witness? I guess that transcript could probably tell us some of that. And could a fact witness in any of our legal bases of America be in charge? No. So it begs to wonder why. Why would he not release it? Of all of them that he released, which was all the others. And if he started all this when I first watched him, he was very concerned that the whistleblower would never be able to testify that somehow the administration would stop that whistleblower. Well, that whistleblower was stopped by the same person who met with him, the only person in the House, Adam Schiff. But that's not all that is happening at the expense of saving American lives. The one thing I've found with these Democrats, everything that's not getting done. Take, for example, what happened just this week. The Senate had passed a bill dealing with fentanyl, making sure our streets would still be safe. Judiciary Committee hadn't done anything on it. Republicans had to shame them this week about it, to finally they moved something of late last night. How many other things are not getting done because of all the focus is just on impeachment? This should make every American wonder, when will this nightmare end? When can we go back to doing what the American people expect us to do? What's interesting to me, I've watched a president just in the last month, this week alone, have a meeting with foreign leaders about Middle East peace, sign an agreement with China that no one thought could happen, sign an agreement of USMCA that no one gave them the ability to get done, all making the world safer and stronger. A Democrat majority only has one thing to show, a continual investigation of this president instead of working on what the American people expect us to do. And then we have today, going along with the motto of this new Democrat majority that believes in blaming America first, a debate on the floor about AUMF, but doing it in a tactic that has not been used and taken away in 100 years. A motion to recommit. A motion to recommit is one amendment to be used by the minority to make sure they have a voice. To be used in a voice on important issues. I would think this is probably one of the most important issues that we ever deal with. But Ro Khanna bragged about the idea that Leader Hoyer would be willing to change a 100-year history and tradition of the House so they would not have to debate. Did they give the amendment that I put on the floor? No, Rules Committee denied that. They took a gold medal bill that we had already voted on, gut and amend it, just to change the rules so you could not debate of something so important. And at the end of the day, if this became law, if there was any American that was kidnapped and we actually knew where they were, we could not send the Navy SEALs in to save him. Or our U.S. merchant ship going through those waters, we could not send in. And they were being attacked by the Iranians, we could not protect them. Or that we had intelligence that the Iranians were going to attack New York or even Jerusalem. We could not do anything. America will not be safer, we will be weaker. One of the reasons why we're going to be weaker, because this new Socialist Democrat Party, the dislike for President Trump, they're willing to change a century of tradition simply to deny people to have a vote. If they believed their policy was so strong, why wouldn't they allow debate? Why wouldn't they allow amendments? Why wouldn't they allow a vote of an MTR that the Republicans in the majority never denied? I guess it just shows how weak their ideas are. Let's open it up for questions.
I've heard that the Trump administration, when they were briefing the Republican caucus on the votes today, that they argued that the candidates amendment would have prevented the Soleimani strike. Is that accurate? And if it had become law in the NDAA, do you think that strike would have gone forward?
I have real concerns that would ever go forward and tie the president's hands, that America would be weaker, and it shows exactly that fact. You look at the Soleimani attack, that the deterrent that it's happened with inside Iran. You listen to a General Petraeus saying how important this was. You look at the world being safer because of that action. And then I just watched, and let's compare this. What is on the floor today by trying to tie the president's hand when he had intelligence of what Soleimani was going to do in the future, to deny him the ability to do it. We just watched 2 weeks ago when young college students inside Iran would not walk across an American flag that their government put up. And they said, the enemy's in Iran, not in America. The Democrats wouldn't even let a resolution go. What message do you think that says to the world? And just what you said, the policy itself is wrong. The process is different than we've done in 100 years to deny the right to even have debate about it, which you would like to have. And you know what's worse? The timing. They're sitting trying to impeach a president, and they're sending the wrong message to the regime. They will not send a message of support to those who protest, who believe in the idea of freedom. They vote that down. The protesters get a very clear message from the Democrats, but the regime gets even a clearer message from them to continue to do what we had feared they would do in the future. That is what's wrong with what's going on today. Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday, Bernie Sanders put out a statement saying that if he becomes the Democratic nominee, and if he does become president, that he would immediately begin renegotiating the USMCA. Does that concern you, that he's making that threat, and what message do you think that sends to your trading partners, Canada and Mexico?
This is another reason why he should never become president. An idea that you're going to make America have a more level playing field. Every economist will tell you that our GDP will be stronger. There'll be more Americans working. But, you know, he's true to his socialist beliefs. For the same time that the establishment in the Democratic Party, holding the papers, so here we are having an Iowa caucus just next week. Bernie Sanders hasn't been able to campaign along with the other senators. But you know who has been there the whole time? Joe Biden. It's interesting that the establishment of the Democratic Party would do anything to try to stop Bernie Sanders. Maybe they disagree with some of his ideas too, but I guess he's surging in Iowa from what I hear. Yes, sir.
Dershowitz has put forward a couple of provocative legal theories this week. One on Monday, that if a president has any mixed motive, he can't be impeached or removed. And then yesterday he went further and said that that motive can be his own reelection, that itself is good enough, and in that sense he could never be removed from office, never be impeached. Do you agree with that?
You know, that's probably a question for Dershowitz on his legal opinion. The one thing I know I have as a member of Congress, the question, does this rise to impeachment level? No. What the president did was not wrong. It's not impeachable. And the bipartisan vote inside the House actually proved that, going against every requirement that the Speaker set forth. And I look forward to, on Friday, this being over, and hopefully we can get back to America's business. Thank you.
Robert Hyde, who you were pictured with, and who allegedly threatened a U.S. ambassador